Walk into any supplement store in the United States, and protein powder looks like one of the safest buys in the room. Big tubs, clean labels, words like lean, pure, and performance everywhere. For guys trying to build muscle the right way, protein powder feels like a no-brainer, but here's what a lot of gym goers don't realize. Independent testing has found that some protein powders sold in the US contain measurable levels of heavy metals, including lead, cadmium, and arsenic. That matters because this isn't something you take once in a while. Protein powder is daily fuel, post-workout shakes, morning blends, sometimes multiple scoops every single day. And in this video, we're breaking down 8 protein powder brands sold in the United States that raised quality concerns in a recent Consumer Reports analysis, what the findings actually showed, and why they matter if you're serious about building strength without unnecessary risks. And at the end, we'll cover what to look for if you want cleaner, more transparent options. Number 1, Naked Nutrition. Naked Nutrition is often praised for its minimal ingredient philosophy. The brand positions itself as straightforward and transparent, which is exactly why the findings around this product stand out. According to a Consumer Reports investigation, the Vegan Mass Gainer protein powder contained 7.7 micrograms of lead per serving. That was the highest lead level recorded in the entire analysis, measuring roughly 15 times Consumer Reports' daily level of concern. This does not mean the product is illegal or contaminated in a regulatory sense, but Consumer Reports went further than caution here. Based on the data, they specifically recommended avoiding this product entirely. Plant-based protein powders are known to be more vulnerable to heavy metal exposure because plants absorb metals from soil. That risk increases when multiple plant ingredients are concentrated into a single powdered serving. This product is a clear example of how that vulnerability can show up in testing. Beyond the heavy metal findings, the fact that this is a mass gainer introduces additional quality concerns. Mass gainers rely on very large serving sizes, often requiring multiple scoops per use. Larger servings don't just increase calorie intake, they also increase overall exposure to any contaminants present. The carbohydrate sources used in many mass gainers are typically highly processed, chosen to deliver calories quickly and cheaply. That can spike calorie intake without offering much nutritional depth. Some consumers also report digestive discomfort, which is common with large volume plant-based blends built around peas, rice, and starches. These ingredients can be difficult to tolerate in high amounts, especially when consumed daily. Naked Nutrition emphasizes simplicity, but mass gainer formulations by nature complicate that promise. Number 2, Huel. Huel markets itself as nutritionally complete and science-backed. That positioning builds a high level of trust, especially among consumers looking for a convenient, all-in-one option. However, Consumer Reports testing found that one serving of Huel Black Edition contained 6.3 micrograms of lead, which is more than 12 times their daily level of concern. The product was also noted for elevated cadmium levels, another heavy metal linked to long-term exposure risks. Because of that combination, Consumer Reports recommended avoiding this product, particularly when used frequently. This isn't about intent or formulation philosophy, it's about measurable exposure when a product is consumed daily, as Huel is designed to be. Huel Black Edition is positioned as a meal replacement, not just a protein powder. That means it contains a wide range of added vitamins, minerals, fibers, gums, and emulsifiers to create a complete nutrient profile. The ingredient list is long by design. For some users, that complexity works. For others, it leads to digestive complaints, including bloating and discomfort, often associated with fiber blends and thickening agents. Huel also relies on proprietary nutrient blends, which limits transparency around specific ingredient sourcing and processing methods. While this isn't uncommon, it does reduce clarity for consumers who want to know exactly what they're consuming every day. The concern here isn't that Huel is unsafe by definition, it's that complex formulations paired with daily use amplify exposure, making quality and consistency more critical than marketing suggests. Number 3, Garden of Life. Garden of Life is widely viewed as a premium, health-focused brand. Its organic certifications and wellness-oriented messaging create a strong sense of confidence. But Consumer Reports testing showed that the Sport Organic plant-based protein contained lead levels more than 5 times the organization's safety threshold per serving. Because of this, experts recommended limiting consumption, in some cases to as little as once per week. That distinction matters. This wasn't classified as never use, but it also wasn't considered suitable for daily intake. Garden of Life relies heavily on organic plant-based blends, which are inherently harder to standardize. Plant proteins can vary significantly from batch to batch depending on soil conditions, crop sourcing, and processing methods. That variability affects more than just contamination risk. It can influence texture, mixability, taste, and digestive tolerance. Some users report a chalky mouthfeel and bloating, often linked to fiber content and fermentation byproducts common in plant protein formulations. It's also important to understand what organic certification actually means. Organic standards focus on farming practices, not on guaranteeing contaminant-free finished products. Garden of Life isn't alone in facing this challenge, but this case shows how organic labeling doesn't automatically translate to daily use safety or consistency. Number 4. Momentous. Momentous is known for performance-focused supplements and an emphasis on testing and quality control. That reputation is why the findings around this product are worth noting. Consumer Reports found that the brand's now discontinued 100% plant protein powder contained lead levels nearly 5 times their daily level of concern. To the company's credit, this product is no longer sold. Still, the result reinforces an important point. Even well-regarded brands can face real challenges when working with plant-based protein sources. This product highlighted a known issue with plant proteins: raw material variability. Plant ingredients can absorb contaminants from soil, and that exposure can vary widely depending on where and how crops are grown. Even brands that prioritize testing can struggle when relying on multiple plant protein sources, international supply chains, seasonal crop differences. Those variables make consistency harder to control, especially at scale. The decision to discontinue the product suggests formulation or sourcing limitations, not negligence. And that distinction matters. This case shows why ongoing batch-level testing is more important than brand reputation alone. A strong image doesn't eliminate real-world supply chain complexity. Number 5. Muscle Meds. Muscle Meds Carnivore Mass stood out in the Consumer Reports investigation for a different reason. It was the only non-plant-based protein powder in the report found to contain lead at over 200% of Consumer Reports' level of concern. That challenges a common assumption. Heavy metal exposure isn't limited to plant proteins. Carnivore Mass is a mass gainer, which already raises separate quality considerations. Mass gainers involve very large serving sizes, and larger servings naturally amplify exposure to anything present in the product. The formula relies on hydrolyzed beef protein isolate, which is heavily processed to improve solubility and taste. That level of processing often requires flavor masking agents, artificial sweeteners, and thickening agents. Mass gainer formats also encourage users to consume full servings regularly, sometimes multiple times per day. That increases exposure not just to contaminants, but also to additives. Some consumers report digestive discomfort, especially when using full serving sizes. This isn't uncommon with highly processed, high-volume protein products. Carnivore Mass isn't inherently unsafe, but the combination of heavy processing, large servings, and detected lead levels raises legitimate quality concerns. Number 6. Optimum Nutrition Serious Mass. Optimum Nutrition is one of the most recognizable supplement brands in the United States. Its products are widely used by athletes, gym goers, and everyday consumers, which creates an assumption of reliability. In Consumer Reports testing, the Serious Mass product was found to contain inorganic arsenic at twice the level experts consider safe for daily consumption. Inorganic arsenic is the form most closely associated with long-term exposure concerns, which is why this finding stood out. Consumer Reports also noted that other Optimum Nutrition products showed elevated lead levels, even though not all reached the same threshold of concern. This doesn't invalidate the brand as a whole, but it does highlight that even industry leaders can show variation across product lines. Beyond heavy metals, Serious Mass raises additional quality questions simply because of what it is. This is a high-calorie, large-serving mass gainer designed to deliver weight gain quickly. Each full serving provides a very high carbohydrate load, along with added sugars, artificial flavors, and emulsifiers. Those ingredients help with taste, texture, and shelf stability, but they also move the product closer to a processed calorie supplement than a clean protein source. Serious Mass is formulated for convenience and scale, not ingredient minimalism. That matters for users who consume it daily. Some consumers have also questioned batch-to-batch consistency, particularly when it comes to mixability and flavor. That kind of variability isn't uncommon in large-scale products, but it's still worth noting. Optimum Nutrition remains a major player in the supplement industry, but Serious Mass demonstrates why brand reputation alone isn't enough when evaluating daily use powders. Number 7. Mass Gainer. One clear pattern emerged in the Consumer Reports analysis. Mass Gainer-style protein powders were more likely to exceed daily exposure limits than standard protein products. The reason is straightforward, and contaminants scale with serving size. More scoops mean more exposure. This doesn't mean mass gainers are unsafe by default, but they require far more scrutiny than traditional protein powders, especially when consumed regularly. Beyond heavy metals, this category shares several recurring issues. Mass gainers typically rely on extremely large serving sizes, often combined with maltodextrin or other highly processed carbohydrate sources. Artificial flavor systems are common, as are emulsifiers and stabilizers used to keep texture consistent. These additions make the product easier to consume, but they also increase formulation complexity. Digestive complaints are another frequent concern. Many users report bloating, discomfort, or poor tolerance when using full servings, particularly over time. Mass gainers are designed for calorie density and rapid intake, not simplicity. That design goal makes quality control more challenging and increases the importance of transparent testing. If a product is meant to be consumed in large amounts every day, it needs to meet a higher standard. Number 8. Plant-based protein powders without clear testing disclosure. One of the most consistent patterns in the Consumer Reports analysis involve plant-based protein powders. Across the board, these products were more likely to show elevated heavy metal levels compared to animal-based alternatives. That doesn't make plant protein inherently bad, but it does make transparency far more important. Plant-based powders often rely on ingredients like pea, rice, hemp, and seed proteins. These crops absorb minerals directly from soil, including naturally occurring heavy metals. Where and how they're grown matters. The problem arises when brands don't clearly disclose third-party testing, sourcing practices, or batch-level quality controls. Without that information, consumers have no way to assess risk, especially when a product is marketed for daily or even multiple daily servings. Plant proteins also introduce other challenges beyond contamination. They're more prone to batch inconsistency, which can affect taste, texture, and mixability. Some formulations require gums, thickeners, or flavor systems to compensate, adding more complexity to the ingredient list. Digestive tolerance varies widely with plant proteins as well. Some users experience bloating or discomfort, particularly when products rely heavily on pea or rice isolates. The takeaway here isn't to avoid all plant-based protein. It's to be cautious of products that ask for daily use without offering clear, independent verification. When testing transparency is missing, you're left guessing. And with supplements, guessing isn't a great strategy. What should you do instead? Rotate. Don't rely on one product daily. One of the simplest ways to reduce long-term exposure is to avoid using the same protein powder every single day. Exposure compounds over time. Rotating between different protein sources and brands lowers the risk that any single contaminant becomes a daily constant. This applies to both plant-based and animal-based products. Variety isn't just good nutritionally, it's a practical risk management strategy. Look for published heavy metal testing, not vague claims. Many brands talk about quality, purity, or standards. Fewer actually show the data. Prioritize products that publish third-party heavy metal testing results, ideally with batch-level reporting. General statements about testing are not the same as transparency. If a brand won't show results, you're being asked to trust marketing instead of evidence. Be cautious with mass gainers and serving size. Mass gainers dramatically increase exposure because of their serving size. More scoops mean more of everything, including contaminants. If weight gain is your goal, consider smaller, cleaner protein servings paired with whole food calories instead. And if you do use a mass gainer, avoid full servings unless they're truly necessary. Don't assume organic or plant-based means cleaner. Organic certification reflects farming practices, not finished product purity. Plant-based proteins are more susceptible to environmental contamination, especially from soil. That doesn't make them bad. It means they require stronger sourcing controls and more rigorous testing. Focus on simpler, single-source protein. Products with shorter ingredient lists and single protein sources are easier to evaluate and control. control. Fewer ingredients mean fewer variables. In supplements, clarity beats branding. The safer choice is usually the one that tells you exactly what's inside and proves it. Now that we've covered the protein powders you should be cautious about, let me give you some safer alternatives you can actually rely on. These options let you get maximum results from your workouts and daily nutrition without compromising your health or exposing yourself to unnecessary heavy metals and additives. Permace Orgain Organic Protein. Orgain Organic Protein is a plant-based powder designed with transparency and simplicity in mind. Unlike many mass-market protein powders, Orgain focuses on short, recognizable ingredient lists, typically featuring protein sources such as pea, brown rice, and chia. It avoids unnecessary fillers, artificial flavors, and synthetic additives, which are common in larger processed powders. This makes the product easier to digest for many users, particularly those sensitive to gums and thickening agents that appear in heavily formulated powders. One of Orgain's key advantages is its attention to safety and quality. Select products have undergone third-party testing for heavy metals, helping consumers feel more confident about daily use. While not every batch is independently verified publicly, the brand does provide testing information and follows strict manufacturing standards. For US consumers looking for a plant-based powder that balances nutrition and safety, Orgain represents a practical choice. It's widely available in grocery stores, major retailers, and online, making it accessible without sacrificing quality. Because it doesn't rely on highly processed carbohydrate blends or flavor masking additives, the product provides a more predictable, consistent experience across batches. It's important to remember that no protein powder is completely risk-free, but Orgain's focus on clean ingredients, transparency, and moderate serving sizes reduces potential heavy metal exposure and digestive issues. For those incorporating a plant-based protein powder into daily routines, this product offers a reliable option that prioritizes safety and simplicity over marketing or complexity. 2. Naked Whey. Naked Whey is an animal-based protein powder that emphasizes purity, transparency, and simplicity, making it a top choice for US consumers seeking safer daily protein. Unlike many protein powders that combine multiple ingredients, Naked Whey contains a single ingredient, grass-fed whey protein sourced from US farms. There are no artificial flavors, sweeteners, thickeners, or fillers, which limits both unnecessary additives and potential sources of contamination. This focus on a single ingredient is significant. The fewer ingredients in a protein powder, the easier it is to manage consistency, digestibility, and exposure risk. It tends to be lower in whey compared with plant-based powders because it originates from milk rather than plants grown in variable soil conditions. Naked Whey is minimally processed, using cold filtration to preserve protein integrity without adding chemicals. The brand is transparent about sourcing, including the origin of the milk and the production process. Batch-level testing is conducted to ensure quality, giving consumers insight into what they're actually consuming. Serving sizes are standard, not excessive, which reduces cumulative exposure risks compared to mass gainer products. Naked Whey is also versatile. It can be used in shakes, baked goods, or smoothies without requiring additional flavoring agents. This flexibility allows users to maintain a cleaner diet while still meeting protein needs. For US consumers who prioritize safety, simplicity, and reliability, Naked Whey stands out as a practical daily protein powder. Its minimal processing, clear sourcing, and lack of additives make it a low-risk choice compared with highly formulated plant-based powders or mass gainer blends, while still providing high-quality, easily digestible protein. 3. Vital Proteins. Vital Proteins. Collagen Peptides is a protein supplement focused on single ingredient purity, making it a lower risk alternative to heavily formulated protein powders. Sourced from grass-fed bovine collagen, it contains no added sugars, flavors, or emulsifiers. Its simplicity reduces exposure to contaminants and unnecessary additives common in multi-ingredient powders. Collagen peptides are not a complete protein, but they offer a highly bioavailable source of amino acids. The product is minimally processed and includes clear sourcing information, including farm origin and manufacturing standards, which adds a layer of transparency often missing in plant-based or complex blends. Because it's a single ingredient product, there's less risk of batch inconsistency, heavy metal contamination, or digestive issues associated with complex plant protein mixes. It dissolves easily in hot or cold liquids, allowing consumers to incorporate it into smoothies, coffee, or recipes without masking flavors or textures. Serving sizes are moderate, further reducing the risk of overexposure to any contaminants that could be present. Collagen peptides also provide an option for US consumers who want supplemental protein but prefer a simpler, cleaner approach than multi-source powders. Vital Proteins demonstrates that protein supplementation doesn't need to rely on long ingredient lists or high-volume formulations. For those prioritizing safety, transparency, and minimal processing, this product offers a practical, low-risk solution for daily protein support while supporting joint, skin, and connective tissue health. Protein powder can still be useful, but trust should come from data, not labels. Consumer Reports didn't accuse brands of wrongdoing. They presented measurements, and those measurements show why transparency, testing, and moderation. If this helped you better understand what's in your supplement routine, consider subscribing and check out the related videos to see what other everyday health products deserve a closer look before you trust the tub.